Hello. Hi. Welcome. Thank you for your time. Thanks for being here. I'm Jennifer Jules. You can call me JJ. I am a ceramicist based on the unceded territory of the Algonquin and Anishinaabe people here in Ottawa, Ontario, Canada. And I've been making pottery for the past few years in the shadows. I love making vessels, and I love creating items that are just functional pieces of art. I think it's such a privilege to be able to play with clay, and I wanted to share this with you all. It's currently January here in Ottawa, and January in Ottawa is cold and quiet, and did I say cold? It's very cold. However, I like to embrace the different seasons. I like to embrace what it means to be living this moment in time. This moment in time of Canadian winter. And I find that it's a great time to reflect upon what I did in my previous year and what I want to do for 2026 and where my inspiration is coming from. I love that. So I try to embrace winter. I go skating, I go skiing, I go snowshoeing. I try to spend time outside every day. As I was reflecting, I just finished a winter market in December. I sold quite a few things, and I've only done 2 markets in 2025. Intentionally, I'm also working full time, so I didn't have that much time to dedicate to making pieces, but I did manage to create 2 different collections that were available to folks here in Ottawa. And I have participated in markets that I call the passive markets, where you set up your table and clients are free to roam around the room and decide what is it that they want to see. They can pick up the pieces and they can try and feel if they like them. And I find those types of market less intrusive and less high stakes than the active markets where you're behind your table and you have to sell your pieces and sell yourself. So I find that those passive markets are great for folks who maybe don't have that much experience in doing face-to-face time with customers. For this market, I had a whole collection of what I call my tropical pieces. I made different shapes of vessels that I decorated in these bright tropical colors. I have underglaze transfers. I have underglaze pencil markings and some dripping of glazes. And I find that it ends up being such a lovely, unique kind of piece. I'm going to add a picture, I think, because I don't know if this is super clear. So that did very well. I also did those. So in addition to this cup, as you can see, there's a little bit of a theme. I like greens. I like nature. And my practice is actually very, very informed and inspired by nature and by travel and by heritage. So my heritage and other people's heritage. So I also made those plates. I kept this one for myself because she's a little bit wonky. But the plates that I sold were a little bit bigger and were made with a speckled clay. I used the underglaze pencil to mark it, and then I used a brush to create this shape here with a copper oxide, sorry. And then I dipped it into clear glaze and it turned out so lovely. I made about 20 of those and I sold all of them. And then I also made, with the inspiration of color and having abstract colors really make a piece shine, I made a set of plates. These are very, very simple plates. that I made, and they're also all sold. I also kept this one because she's a little bit wonky, although there's also a little crack here. So I kept this one for myself. Looking ahead in 2026, I'm planning my next collection. I'm hoping to make a video documenting the entire process from sketch to finished pieces. I actually had some sketches here of the types of pieces that I might be making. Thinking about 2026, I gave myself some goals in what I call my clay bingo. I've gone a little bit overboard because so far I have about like 24 different items. Some of them I've already done, but one of the things that I was planning to do and that I would like to document is experimenting with new forms and new clays. In terms of new clays, I came across 3 beautiful clays. I'm trying to decide which clay I'm going to use for my next collection. Of those 3 clays that I want to choose from, there's a buff speckled clay that is lovely to throw. It's like toasted beige with speckled. There is a red mid-cal that looks like cocoa when you throw it. It has a lot of grog, so it does get a little bit painful on the hands when you throw it, but it's great for hand building. I've already hand built a couple of pieces just to see how it reacts. And then I have a dark granite that is honestly such a joy. It is so smooth. It looks like melting cement. And I know it doesn't sound super attractive, but it actually looks great. And I can't wait to see what it looks like fired. So I have made a few forms with those 3 clays. I've made a lot of cups, handless cups, because I love a good cup. As you've noticed, I love a good handless cup. I've made a couple of travel cups because I love the idea of a closed form. I also made some little jars with some loopy tops, which is my signature. I would say my signature. I also made Shawan cups and Yunomi cups. I love the Japanese inspired forms. I think they're lovely, and I love matcha, so And then some vases, just to get an idea of how the clay reacts depending on the form. All of this is going to go into the kiln this week. And then next week, I'm going to do some glaze testing as well as underglaze decorating and all the fun stuff about decorating. Surface treatment. I call it surface treatment. I love vessels that have irregular walls and that have fingerprints and thumb prints and that allow the glazes to flow and to react with each other. And I find that it creates such interesting surfaces. Anyway, I don't know. I hope this is interesting. Planning to do my next video, as I said, is going to be me planning my collection from start to finish. I would like to take you along the journey of creating a cohesive, I say cohesive, but my collections have not always been very cohesive, although there's always the same themes of nature, of nature and heritage and culture and travels. I would like to do a collection that is cohesive-ish and take you along the journey and see if that's something that's of interest. I'm ready to come out of the shadows. If you stayed till the end, thank you so much for joining. I will be back very soon. I hope this is interesting and that it got you thinking about what winter represents for you and how you can incorporate the changing seasons into your own art practice or into your daily lives. It doesn't have to be the art practice. I will see you soon and I appreciate your time. Thank you so much for watching. Now, did I buy a film clap just so that I could say cut? Yes, I did.